All right, in this video we're going to talk about the new round of problems with the New Holland. For those of you who may not be familiar, I bought this tractor sight unseen from Maryland, had it shipped 1,600 miles over here to me in Wyoming, and when it rolled off the truck, it was running on 5 cylinders. I drove it maybe half an hour, played with it, and then started the maintenance and repair process. Shortly after that, I ended up finding the injection pump had a problem, so the pump was removed, the pump was sent out and rebuilt, and then I got the pump back the other night, and just let me move this box out of the way. I got the pump back the other day, got it reinstalled, and that's when I shot the video you guys saw of the injection pump being installed. Now let's talk a little about that video. One thing a lot of people commented on, aside from the fact that it was dark, which I apologize for, but the next biggest comment was the tractor is running rough. Yes, it is, or was, and there are 2 reasons for that. Reason number 1 is because there was air in the system. When you work on the fuel system on a diesel, it gets air in it. Obviously, air is not fuel. Air is not going to burn. So until the tractor pushed all that air out of the system, it was not running like it should. So I've ran maybe 2 hours on it since I got the pump back on, and it's a lot better. It's still not right. And the reason it's still not right is because of a timing problem. Now, I've talked a lot about timing. You guys have heard me say timing probably 500 times if you watched all these New Holland videos, but the way this works is the pump here is driven by a gear train in the back of the engine, and when I got the pump back from the injection shop, it was timed correctly to start on cylinder number 1, which is where the engine was pinned in place. All that's right, all that was correct. The gentleman at the injection pump shop told me I didn't have to do any further timing. That was incorrect. I have not set the timing yet. I'm waiting on an adapter. I thought I had the right one. It turns out my kit is missing the one for this injection pump. So I'm waiting on that to show up, but as soon as that gets here, I'm going to set the timing with this pump on the tractor. I'll do a video for you guys when I do that, and that should get it running right. It's not a burned head gasket. It's not anything like that, I hope. It's acting like it's just the timing is tweaked a little bit and I need to reset it. The reason I need to reset it is because, like I said, this injection pump is driven by a gear train on the back of the engine inside this housing. The pump, as you can see here where I'm pointing my finger, this bolt, all the bolt holes in this pump are slotted, so you can rotate the pump back and forth a little bit to make sure it's where it needs to be. And the reason the timing he set is not correct is because, well, it is correct. It's just not close enough. And it's not close enough because every tractor, every gear train is going to have a little bit of backlash in it. And by sticking it on and going with the factory timing that he had set, that does not account for the backlash in the gears driving it. So just that 1,000th of an inch of backlash can be enough to throw the timing off on the tractor and make it hard starting and run rough, which is exactly what I'm dealing with. So that's what's going on with timing. Now, somebody commented on the bleeding of the injector, said I should have been doing it at the injector and not at the pump. That is correct, but I do it in both places. The reason I bleed it at the pump is because I can get a lot of air out a lot faster at the pump, and then if I have to, a lot of the times if you bleed it at the pump, the little bit of air that's still trapped in the actual injector lines will just push right out. It'll flow through the injector no problem, and you can get the tractor started. I did end up bleeding this one at the injectors as well. I just didn't film that because it was already dark, and well, yeah, anyway. So moving on, now that I have the tractor running, I've had the opportunity to drive it around, use it a little bit, and no surprise, I've discovered a few more problems. One of them is pretty simple. All the loader hoses over there, well, not all of them, but at least 2 of the 4 are seeping. So I've got 4 new loader hoses. That's what was in that box I just moved out of the cab. I'm going to be putting those on, replacing those. But that's not our big problem. Our big problems are twofold. One, the 3-point hitch, as you can see, still does not lower. I suspect that's a problem in the rock shaft valve, which is underneath the cab. I hope I can get to it without having to pull the cab, but we'll just have to see when I get into that. Our more immediate problem is the tractor quit moving. Yeah, quit moving. At first, it simply wouldn't go forward, but it would go in reverse. I was able to play with it a little bit, did get it to go forward, brought it home, parked it right here, and here it's been since. Now it will not move at all. There are several potential causes of this, but what's happening is when I put the tractor in gear in either direction, it flashes in on the dash for neutral, which means go back to neutral. There are a lot of things that can cause this. It could be anything from a parking brake switch, a seat switch, a shifter switch. There's a ton of stuff. I have found, through my troubleshooting, I have found, if we look down here, and if you follow me on Instagram, @GuyNWY, just like YouTube, you saw this a couple days ago. But here's our transmission. This is the low pressure, well, not the low pressure valve block, but a low pressure valve block. And these two solenoids here are our directional solenoids. This one is forward, this one is reverse. The way these work on this 24-speed transmission is when you put the shifter lever into a direction, it sends power to one of those solenoids and causes the electromagnetic coil to pull in and open the valve. When the valve opens, fluid flows through it, which allows the tractor to move. I am not getting any power to those solenoids. So that's telling me I have an electrical problem. Now, just based on experience and feel and the way the tractor was acting, I suspect I have a wiring problem. Because what it feels like to me is a wire started breaking and then broke completely, which is why I lost one direction and then lost everything, and I could play with it just right and get it to work. So that's why I feel like I have an intermittent wiring connection. I don't think it's any of my switches. I could be proven wrong yet, but I think my shifter switches are good because when I put it in a direction, it recognizes that and immediately blinks neutral and sounds an alarm. I think my parking brake switch is good because if I shut the tractor off and don't set the parking brake, it immediately lights up and sounds an alarm. I think my seat switch is good because if I get off the seat with the tractor running, again, it immediately sounds an alarm. So that's telling me all my switches are probably okay. My two valves down here, the solenoids on them do ohm out comparably, so I don't think it's a bad solenoid, which leaves me feeling like somewhere in the wiring from the column here, down here, under the floor, back here, or one of these large plugs, or down here in this big harness underneath the tractor, or underneath the cab, I should say, there's a problem. And it may be a broken wire, it may be a corroded connection. It's really hard to say until I can actually find it. And for you guys that have spent any amount of time troubleshooting wiring like this, you know finding this can be a real trick. I mean, this can be time consuming. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I think I have a wiring problem in this tractor that is preventing it from moving. So the next thing I'm going to do, and I'm probably not going to film it the entire process just because nobody wants to sit here and watch me take apart wiring harnesses and look for loose wires. I don't even want to see that, and I'm the one that's got to do it. So I'm going to start digging into this harness. When I find something, I will bring you guys along. So stick around. I'll be back in just a minute. I told you guys I'd catch up with you when I had something, and now I have something, and I think I got it. Down here, and this is going to be very difficult to see, I apologize, but this connector had some damaged wiring right there that had shorted against the against itself. Now, as you can see, I don't have it completely fixed, but I got them separated and I had the tractor moving a minute ago, so I separated those wires, cleaned up that connection a little bit. I got to clean it up better. And then I jumped in here and didn't get to film it, but I ran a calibration sequence on the synchronizers and the clutch, and the tractor was moving. So let's throw you guys back here for now until I can get my permanent camera mounts in this tractor. Give this a shot. We're moving. I'm sure you can hear. I know you can now. It is still running rough, but that is because the timing does need to be tweaked just a little bit. So now that I've got it moving, I'm going to pull it back around here, park it back out of the way, and we are going to begin to address our leaking loader hoses and our timing problem, and then I got to wrap those wires up better and get them fixed in a more long-term manner than just pulling them off one another. So let's get hard. Alright, thank you guys for watching. The TS115 is running, it's moving. We'll see if that wiring and calibration is going to be the complete fix or if we're going to run into something else. In the meantime, stick around, stay tuned, because I've got a video coming where we are going to manually set the timing for the injection pump on this tractor, hopefully clean it up, get it running a little bit smoother. We still have to fix the 3-point hitch that won't lower. And by the time we get all that done, it's going to be winter and we're going to be dealing with snow, and we'll have to be blowing snow with the snow blower, feeding horses, and having all kinds of fun. So thanks for watching, and more later.